Welcome, welcome. Glad to have you guys. Let's get ready for some morning stretching. We won't go as fast as we did last week. We'll just kind of move through some stretches and understand what these stretches do, and we'll connect all this practice of yoga, breathing, asana, meditation to our current life practice. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. So come onto the mat. Make sure you guys have enough space in your room, arms width. Just pretty much, we need the space of all four corners of the mat. If you don't have a mat, that's okay. Just make sure you have space. And always remember to go at the pace that works for you. If something is sharp or burning, please stop, come out of the pose, and do what works for you. It's very important that you do what works for you. So we'll come to a comfortable seated position. And the comfortable seated position can be on the floor or on the chair, whatever works for you. And when you're sitting, pressing your sit bones into the mat, raising your crown to the ceiling, breathing long and deep. You can keep your eyes soft or closed. And allow you to bring yourself to focus on your breath, your belly rising and falling, noticing your chest rising and falling, feeling the cool air going in and out through the nose. We begin the practice of yoga by focusing our attention on our breath. Focusing our chest and belly rising and falling. And allowing any thought processes that are moving through our mind to just pass by, like fish swimming through a stream. Just watching them without judging or engaging, just letting go. Now taking in a deep inhale through your nose, filling up the belly, the mid-chest, and the upper chest, and maybe even taking an extra sip when you get to the final top. And suspend your breath for just a moment. And now open your mouth and just let it go like a cannon breath. Sighing it out. Let's do that again. Filling up the belly, the mid-chest, and the upper chest, taking an extra sip of air if you can, and suspending your breath, opening your mouth, let it go. Now coming back to your normal long deep breathing, let's reach our arms up to the ceiling, inhaling, sparking our fingers to the ceiling, tailbone into the mat. Exhale, twisting to one side, bringing the opposite hand to the opposite knee, and then looking over the back shoulder and the hand going to the back. Getting a nice stretch here, keeping your spine nice and long, crown to the ceiling, tailbone into the mat. Getting a nice twist in our torso, bringing your navel to the back of the spine to protect your low back. And just taking a couple of breaths right here. Inhaling, bringing your arms back up to the ceiling, twisting to the front again. Exhaling, twisting to your opposite side, opposite hand on opposite knee. The arm goes to the back, looking over that back shoulder if that's okay for you. Again, spine nice and long, not hunching our back, rolling our shoulders, keeping everything nice and long. And breathing into this stretch, waking up our torso, twisting our lungs, twisting our organs. And then taking an inhale, reaching up to the center again, looking forward. Exhaling, dropping your hands down and head and neck down. Just releasing your head and neck. Just feeling the stretch in the low back, the hips. Inhaling the new and exhaling what no longer serves you. Just releasing and letting go. Melting into the pose. And now inhale, reaching your arms up. Exhale, bringing your hands to your knees. Sitting up nice and tall again. Tailbone into the mat, crown to the ceiling, squeezing your navel to the back of the spine. We're going to do some corkscrews, so twisting in one direction. Forward and then back. And it's really important you hold your navel to the back of the spine, really contract, because you want to protect your low back. This exercise here is actually massaging your organs, removing our lymph. Our lymph system doesn't work unless we move it. And the only way we can move it is by moving. Physically moving. We need our lymph glands to work for us, secrete, and function properly. Giving a good exercise for the digestive system by massaging the organs. Breathing long and deep while you're doing these practices. Don't forget to breathe. Good. And then coming back to center and then reversing the direction of the rotation, always reminding you to hold that navel to the back of the spine, protecting your low back. This exercise, this corkscrew, is good for our pelvis, our low back, so getting good pelvic health. Low back pain, removing that from our body by just breathing in and out and massaging, just corkscrewing. Good. Waking up the body, waking up our spine gently. Coming back to center, I'm going to sit sideways so you all can see me. My hands are on my knees. You're going to do something what's called like cat-cow, but it's called a spinal flex. So hands on your knees, inhaling, bringing your chest nice and proud forward, dropping your shoulders back, curving the back forward. Exhale, curving the back, rounding the shoulders. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Now, as you're doing this, notice my chin. I'm not flip-flopping my chin. I'm keeping the chin parallel to the floor because we don't want to strain our neck. This neck is part of our spine. We want it to follow the rest of the spine. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Spine health is so important. It carries our nervous system pathways, the spinal cord. And when the nervous system, the pathways are blocked, like a hose is kinked, the water doesn't come out when the hose is kinked. The same thing with our nervous pathways, our nadis. If there's a kink in any of the nervous pathways, the message won't get there, and that's when we get muscle soreness and possibly even disease. Inhaling forward, exhaling back, coming to center, sitting up nice and tall, taking a deep inhale. Open mouth and let it all go. Let's stretch our head and neck out, dropping your chin to your chest forward, and then looking up to the ceiling. Breathing long and deep, noticing your breath. Perhaps trying to just breathe in and out through your nose and constricting the back of your throat and having an oceanic breath sound, or Darth Vader breath, it's called Ujjayi breath, so having that slight constriction in the back of the throat. And then coming to center, we're just going to turn our head side to side, looking over one shoulder, peeking over one shoulder, coming to center, and then peeking over the other. and then coming to center. Moving at the pace that your body wants you to move today. For some of you, it's quite earlier than it is for me, or for some of you, you might have just woken up, so be gentle with your body. Honor our physical body. This body is our physical vehicle for this life. So treat it with respect and honor. Consider this practice of yoga like tuning up your body. Coming to center. Now we're going to bring our ear to our shoulder, just side to side, gentle stretches. Don't jerk, don't move too quickly. Ear to shoulder. Ear to shoulder. Just like you would take your car for a tune-up, you're giving your body a tune-up by practicing yoga, allowing you to notice what is there, let go of what doesn't serve you, and adjust what needs to be adjusted. And then coming back to center, let's drop our chin to our chest and then just rock our head side to side like a half moon. If you don't have any neck problems, then you can take your head and neck and go all the way back. If you have any neck issues, just rock side to side. Being mindful of what your body is allowing you to do today. Today may be different from yesterday, and it's okay. Every day is different. If you have been rocking your head all the way around, move it in the other direction. Good. And then coming to center, again, adjusting your spine nice and long. Let's take in another deep inhale. Open mouth exhale. And we're going to slowly come onto all fours. Making sure your elbows are under your shoulders and elbows are stacking over your wrists. So wrists, elbows, and shoulders are all in line. Your fingers are webbed out nice and wide. Making sure your knees are stacked, or your hips are stacked right over your knees. And knees are about hip width apart. Swaying your belly down, looking up, bringing your tailbone up, pushing into the mat. Inhale into cow. Exhale, tucking your chin in, tucking your tailbone under, curving your back, pushing the mat into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. This is a vinyasa flow or spinal waves. Waking up our spine. This is an excellent exercise to do first thing in the morning. Waking up your spine, opening up the spaces in between the vertebrae. Allowing that spinal fluid to just move and circulate, lubricate our spinal column. Keeping our spine nice and healthy is what actually determines our age, not our chronological age. A healthy spine is what determines our youth. Exhaling into cat. Inhaling into cow. And just do one more of each. And then coming back to a neutral spine. We're going to take our right ball of our foot out straight. And then we're just going to rock backwards and forwards onto our toes and onto the ball of our foot. Getting a nice stretch in the back of our legs from the heel, up the calf, the hamstring to our hip, and even our low back. Being grateful and thankful to our feet. Our feet are what ground us and keep us standing tall. We are grounded into the earth with our feet. And then slowly bringing that right knee back underneath and then switching legs out to your left foot. And if you started with the other foot, that's okay. Just do the opposite leg. Forward and back, getting a nice stretch. Always reminding you, if you have any sharp pains or tingly, please stop doing the exercise or the pose and sit on your mat and just breathe. If all you do is come to your mat and breathe, you are practicing yoga. All this other stuff is extra stuff. The practice of asana or pose is preparing us for our breath and meditation practice. Bringing back that knee underneath, coming back to all fours, bringing our big toes together, and then widening your knees, and then pushing your hips back as far as you can go, and you're dropping yourself down into child's pose. If your forehead doesn't hit the mat or the floor, you can stack your wrists and use that as a pillow. Just don't want your head to be hanging. So resting your head and neck, because the head is about 10 pounds. Yes, that extra 10 pounds that we're trying to lose, it's all in our head. So our head is about 10 to 11 pounds. So we need to be gentle with our neck muscles. And now taking an inhale, slowly coming back up to all fours. Exhale. Curling your toes under, we're going to push ourselves up to a downward facing dog. Now, if the downward facing dog is not for you, please stay in all fours. That is an option. These are options, they're not levels. If you do one thing and not the other, it doesn't mean that you're better or not good enough. Wherever your body is today and what your body can do for you is where you need to be. And yes, you are good enough. You are enough. Now walking to the front of the mat, bringing your hands in between, your feet in between your hands to a forward fold. You can have a lot of bend in your knees if you need to, if you have tight hamstrings. If you're okay, you can keep your legs nice and straight, making sure your hips are stacked right over your knees and ankles, dropping your head down, just breathing long and deep. And possibly holding the opposite elbows, you can just rock side to side. And then bringing your hands to your hips, bending your knees a lot, leading up with your chest, gently coming up to a standing pose. Our hands are going to be to the sides, bringing our shoulders up, back, and down. The four corners of your feet are rooting into your mat or the floor. So picking up all 10 toes, just imagining you rooting the mound of the big toe, the pinky toe, and the two corners of your heels, and then dropping your toes down. So that's how you stay nice and strong in mountain pose without grasping with your toes. We're going to inhale, reaching our arms up, slight back bend. Exhale, folding forward, bending your knees if you need to. Inhaling, sliding your hands up your shins, coming halfway, flat back, looking forward slightly. Exhale, bringing your hands to the mat, coming to the top of a push-up or a plank. You can stay here and then come down, or you can drop your knees and then bend your elbows and come down to your belly. Uncurling the toes, we're going to move up into cobra, gently lifting your chest up. Inhale, exhale, coming down. Inhale, lifting your chest up, looking forward slightly. Cobra, exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming back up into cobra. Exhale, curling your toes under, either moving into tabletop onto all fours or moving into downward facing dog. Taking 3 breaths right here, bringing your head in between your arms, rolling your shoulder blades back to touch. Gaze is at your shins or your belly or in between your legs. And on your third exhale, you're going to walk to the front of the mat to your forward fold, getting there however it's best for you. Inhaling, sliding your hands up your shins halfway, looking forward. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, sweeping your arms up to the ceiling, looking up. Exhale, bringing your hands to your heart center to reset and reconnect. Take a couple of breaths right here and just feel. Notice if you're gripping into the mat with your toes and readjust your feet, allowing the four corners of your feet to ground into the mat. Tucking your tailbone down and under, bringing your navel to the back of the spine and the shoulders back and down. Let's go through that sun salutation again. Reaching your arms up, inhale, slight back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat. You can move to the top of the plank or to all fours. Coming down onto your belly, uncurling toes. Inhale, coming up into cobra. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming up into cobra. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming up into cobra. Exhale, coming down. And then coming back up to a downward facing dog. Take 3 breaths right here. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And when you get to your third exhale, not allowing me to rush you, just here to guide you, walking back to the front of the mat to a forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, sweeping your arms all the way up to the ceiling, slight back bend. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reset and reconnect. Noticing the four corners of your feet pressing into the mat. Tucking your tailbone down and under, bringing your navel to the back of the spine, and then bringing your shoulders back and down, away from your ears. And take a couple of breaths right here. These sun salutations can actually raise your heart rate. It's a good warm-up exercise before we move into the rest of our asanas, our poses, where we're holding them for a couple of breaths. Reaching your arms up again. Inhale, slight back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the mat, stepping to the top of the plank or all fours. Coming down to your belly. You either moving up into cobra, or you can push your elbows straight and move into upward facing dog. Curling your toes under, and then moving into a downward facing dog. Taking 3 long breaths right here, pushing down into the mat. Just imagine the creases of your elbows facing forward. So rolling your triceps back, your shoulders back and down, looking at your belly button or in between your legs. And then on your third exhale, coming back to the front of the mat to a forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, sweeping your arms all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Reset, reconnect. Taking time to notice and slow down is so important. Considering our new stay-at-home career as a way for us to notice, to reset and reconnect. Bringing your hands to your hips, you're going to step to the back of the mat with your left foot, spinning it at about a 45-degree angle, bending the right knee forward, taking your hips and then turning towards that front knee. Bringing your arms all the way up to the ceiling, and then dropping your shoulders back and down. Warrior 1. You may want to take that stance back a little further to get a little bit more of a lunge, a stretch. You're pushing that back pinky toe into the mat, rolling this thigh, the left thigh inward. You're lifting the front kneecap by engaging that front thigh. And breathing into this stretch, working on our hip flexors. Lunge into Warrior One. Bringing your navel back to the spine, dropping your tailbone down and under. Notice how you engage the entire pelvic area. Now opening up your arms into Warrior Two by bringing the right arm in front, the left arm in back, turning your hips to the side of the mat, and then your gaze is over the front fingertips, stretching from wall to wall. You're reaching for the new and pushing away what's old. No longer needing that, what no longer serves us, reaching for our next goal in life. Moving forward always, not worrying about what happened in the past. Flipping our front palm up towards the ceiling, reaching it up to the ceiling, and then taking the left arm and sliding it down the back leg, we're going to move into reverse warrior. Again, rolling this back thigh down in, front kneecap up. And your feet are pushing into the mat as if you're ripping the mat apart, pushing away from each other. Good. And then bringing your arms back to front and back into Warrior Two. We're going to straighten the front leg, bring our stance a little closer, lean forward, and then bring our right arm down, our right leg, and the left arm goes up. We're moving into triangle. So both legs are straight. The hips are in alignment, thinking that you're in between two panes of glass. Your chest is open, not folding forward. So this is a heart opener, a hip opener. It's a great exercise or pose for low back pain. Triangle pose. And then slowly coming back up, arms up, bending that front knee, looking over the front arm. Warrior Two, we're going to bend the right elbow, rest the right forearm on our right knee or thigh, and then reaching over our head and ear with our left arm, looking at our armpit, the floor, or the wall. Swimmer's pose. Again, reaching for what's ahead and allowing anything that no longer serves us to roll off our side and to behind us. And then slowly bringing your arms open to Warrior Two again, straightening that front leg, lifting the front arm to the ceiling and grabbing that right wrist with the left arm, and then just leaning back. Both legs are straight, getting a nice side stretch, sky archer pose. Breathing, your gaze is at your elbow, the floor, or the wall, whatever your neck allows you to get. Breathing long and deep, feeling the pose, feeling the stretch from fingertip to toes. Good. And then opening your arms up wide again, bending that front knee, bringing your hands to your hips, and we're going to turn all 10 toes to the front. So we're going to be standing like we're maybe on railroad tracks. So our hips are facing the front of the mat. Our legs, our toes are facing forward. All 10 toes. Legs are straight, knees are straight. Hands on the hip, leaning back, taking an inhale, and then exhale, leaning forward. This is called an intense side stretch. Gaze is at your big toe, your shin, or your knee. Trying to keep your back nice and long. Bending at your waist, breathing long and deep right here. It's a little bit of a balance pose. And then taking an inhale, slowly coming back up, and then walking to the front of the mat. Back into mountain pose. Hands can be down your side or in front of your heart center, remembering to ground the four corners of the feet into the mat, tucking your tailbone under. Navel to the back of the spine, crown to the ceiling, shoulders down and away from your ears. reset, and reconnect. We're going to do all of that on the other side. I'm going to walk to the other side of the mat. Hands to the hips, taking your right foot behind you, spinning it at a 45-degree angle. The front toes are pointing to the front of the mat. The hips are turning to the front leg or front of your mat. Pressing into the back pinky toe, rolling this thigh in, lifting this thigh and kneecap up, reaching your arms up to the ceiling, dropping your shoulders down and away from your ears, bending into that front knee, making sure it's over the front ankle, not swaying side to side. Breathing long and deep. Warrior one. These poses are called warrior because it's allowing us to learn that we have strength within us, bringing it out. We have confidence, and we have willpower. Holding your navel to the back of the spine, tucking your tailbone under, and breathing into these poses. Working our hip flexors in all directions when you're in these poses. Opening your arms up to warrior two, left arm in the front, right arm in the back, turning your hips to the side of the mat, long side of the mat, looking over the front fingertips, reaching for the new, letting go of what no longer serves us. Enjoying the journey to get there, not in a hurry to get to the end point, but enjoying the journey and every step of the way as we get there. Lifting up flipping the front palm to the ceiling, reaching it up to the ceiling, dropping the right arm down the back leg, bending into that front leg, reaching up, getting a nice side stretch, reverse warrior. Always remembering anytime if you fall out of the pose, that's okay. Take a break, come back in. The practice of yoga is an individual practice. It's not a competition. It's what you allow yourself to do and allow yourself to forgive and honor your body for what it asks and what it needs. Opening up your arms back to warrior two, straightening the front leg, bringing that right arm up, and then reaching for that, bringing the left arm, reaching for the left wrist, and then leaning back into Sky Archer. Getting a nice left side stretch. Gaze at your elbow, the wall, or the floor, whatever your neck is allowing you to do today. Each day our body is a little different depending on the activities that we engaged in the day before. And it's okay. Opening up your arms again, bending that front knee into warrior two, bending the left forearm, resting that forearm on the left thigh, reaching your arm above, your right arm above your ear. Your gaze is at your armpit, elbow, wall, floor, wherever your neck allows. Reaching. Swimmer's pose or side angle pose. Reaching for what's next. Holding these poses allows us to learn to be patient with ourselves. It allows us to connect with the breath and stay in these poses, especially right when our body is saying nope, or our mind is saying I can't do it anymore. That's actually when the pose is just beginning. Slowly unwinding, coming back to warrior two. Bringing your hands to your hips. Bringing your stance a little closer. Straightening the legs. Arms back out. We're going to lean forward and then bend into our triangle pose. Left arm down the leg. Right arm up to the ceiling. Opening your hips up, chest up. Again, imagining that you're in between two panes of glass, trying to keep your chest open. It's not about reaching the floor. It's about getting the stretch opening and keeping it nice and long. Slowly coming back up to warrior two. Hands to the hips. And we're going to turn all 10 toes to the front of your mat. As if you're standing on railroad tracks, your hips are facing forward. Keeping your legs both nice and straight. Inhale, leaning back, hands to the hips. Exhale, folding forward. You can choose to grab opposite elbows or even do a reverse prayer if that's in your practice. Keeping the back nice and long, bending at your waist, the hips. Gaze at your big toe or your shin, and breathing. Intense side stretch. Bending that front knee, slowly coming up, unwinding your arms, bringing yourself back into warrior two. Looking over that front arm, hands to the hips, and then walking back to the front of your mat. Good. I'm going to come back to this side. Good. So reaching our arms up, we're going to move into our downward facing dog, going through our vinyasa. Inhale, exhale, folding forward. Inhale, coming up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, stepping to the top of the plank or to all fours, tabletop. Inhale, exhale, coming down. Inhale, coming into the cobra or upward dog, bringing your shoulders away from your ears, tucking your toes under and pushing yourself back into your downward facing dog. Taking 3 breaths right here. And on your third exhale, bringing your right foot in between your hands, dropping that back knee down, uncurling the toes if you want, and then keeping your hands framed around that front foot, feeling how this feels. Once you feel stable, slowly bringing your hands to your knee. You can lengthen out that stance by bringing that front leg a little forward so you can bend into that front knee and you're going to get a nice stretch in the back leg and hip. You can stay here or you can bring your arms up, bringing your shoulders down away from your ears and taking a couple of breaths right here, low crescent lunge. Now bringing your left arm in front, right arm behind you. You're going to be looking to your right. We're doing a twist. So my back is faced to you. I'm looking over the right side. And now inhale, bringing your arms back up to center. Exhale, hands to the mat. Curling your toes under. You can move straight to downward facing dog or you can go to tabletop and then to downward facing dog. Taking 3 breaths right here to reset and reconnect. Downward facing dog is one of the resting poses or child's pose. Taking any of those poses anytime you need to throughout the practice, moving at your pace. Bringing the left foot in between your hands, dropping the right knee down, and then setting yourself up right here, hands around the front foot. And then when you feel like you're ready, bringing your hands to your knees, you can take that front foot a little further so you can bend into that stretch a little bit more, getting a nice stretch in the opposite leg, the leg that's behind you, the right leg. Staying right here is perfectly fine. If you want a little more, you can reach your arms up to the ceiling. Sri Hanumasana or low crescent lunge. Opening up to the left, bringing your right arm in front of you, left arm behind. Getting a twist in this lunge. Breathing long and deep, looking over your back shoulder, if your neck allows. And then slowly coming back up to center. Inhale. Exhale, framing the front foot, taking yourself back to a downward facing dog. Going to your hands and knees or straight to a downward facing dog. Taking 3 breaths right here. Bringing your right foot in between your hands again. This time we're going to come to standing, keeping the back heel lifted and the knee slightly bent. We're moving into high crescent lunge. It's a balance pose. Bringing your arms up, or hands can be at your hips, wherever you're comfortable. Bringing those shoulders down away from your ears. You may want to lengthen your stance a little bit, bending into that front knee, making sure that front knee is stacked over that ankle, moving towards the direction of the toes, having a slight bend in that back knee, lifting up that back heel. So staying here, you can stay here. If you want a little bit more, you can twist to your right. So left arm in front, right arm in back, looking over your right arm. We're going to do a twist in the high crescent lunge. Slowly bringing your arms back up and unwinding, hands to the hips, and then stepping forward to a mountain pose. I'm going to change sides, so we'll do the other side. Stepping back with your right foot, keeping that heel lifted up, bending into the left knee, making sure that knee is over that ankle, pointing in the direction of the toes always, turning your hips to the front of the mat, staying here, or reaching your arms up, bringing your shoulders down away from your ears, your gaze is forward. Breathing long and deep. Holding these poses teaches us how to move through life practice. There's times in life that can be tough, and we feel like it's never going to end. But you and I know that's not true. We're not going to be in this pose forever. This pose, this too shall pass. When you have those moments in life, always know, this too shall pass. We don't know when, but it will. Bringing your arms out, right arm in front, left arm in back, looking over your left arm in the back. If you want, you get a little bit of a twist right here. Breathing into the pose. Using the breath to keep you grounded in the here and the now, and always bringing that navel to the back of the spine and tucking the tailbone under. That helps you with these balances. Unwinding, twisting, looking forward, arms up. Inhale, exhale, hands to the hips, coming back to the front of your mat. Reset, reconnect. Good. We're going to come down to the mat to all fours and do a couple of balancing poses. So making sure your hands are nice in a nice web, really opening up your fingers. Knees under the hips, stacking everything. We're going to take our right leg back. You can stay here on your toes if you want to. And if you want a little more, you can lift your leg up to about hip height. You can stay here, flexing that foot. Or if you want a little bit more, you can take your left hand out in front of you, thumb facing the ceiling. Flexing that back foot, so reaching and pushing. Reaching with your hand and pushing with your foot. Breathing long and deep. Holding your navel to the back of the spine is what holds you up. Slowly releasing both hand and knee, and then just swaying your hips side to side. Good. Let's take our left foot to the back. You can stay here on your toes. If you want more, lift up that foot, flex it to about hip height, squeezing your navel to the back of the spine. You can stay here. if you want more. Bringing that right hand in front of you to about shoulder height, thumb facing the ceiling, pushing with your foot, flexing, reaching with your hand. Squeezing the navel to the back of the spine. Breathing long and deep. Knowing that we're not going to be in this pose forever, using your breath to focus, to stay calm, centered, and then bringing your hand and knee down and swaying your hips side to side. Kissing the big toes, widening the knees and pushing your hips back into your child's pose or baby pose, dropping your head down, using your fists if you need to stack to rest your head. Always remembering you can come back to this pose to rest, reset, reconnect. This pose is very powerful. It's good for anxiety. It's good for your low back and your hips. It's good for digestion, to help bring clarity and mental focus. Just an all in all great pose. It's a place where you can feel safe. And it's a pose that I like to share with children anytime they're feeling like they're not in control, or they may even be acting up. It's a place where they can go to and be safe. And we can as well. Slowly coming back up to all fours, and then coming on to your back. Bending your knees up to the ceiling. We're going to cross our right ankle over our left knee, and then lift up our left thigh, and then hug it to our chest. Figure 4, getting a nice stretch in our right outer thigh. Bringing our shoulders down into the mat and away from the ears. Just releasing and letting go, breathing into the stretch. Trying not to be in control always, just feeling safe on your mat. The 4 corners of your mat is where you want to be right now. And nowhere else. And now taking in a deep inhale, suspending your breath, opening your mouth and letting it go. And then slowly dropping your left foot down, unwinding your right ankle, and then windshield wipering your knees side to side. Good. And then let's do the opposite side. Left ankle over the right knee, or the other way if you did the other way around the last time. Reaching up with your right thigh, hugging that right thigh close to your chest, getting a nice stretch in the outer thigh of the other leg. And again, taking this opportunity to just let go. Use your breath to control the way you are feeling. When you breathe long and deep, you allow your heart rate to come down to normal. You allow your blood pressure to come down to normal. You're able to think clearly. Practicing using this long, deep breathing, especially during intense times when we're holding a stretch or a pose, we take that same practice in yoga and take it into life practice. And notice how that we can think clearer and become more non-reactive to life's hurdles. And we'll be able to move through with ease. Using the effort to breathe through allows us to move through with ease. And then dropping your right foot back down to the mat, unwinding your legs, and then windshield wipering them side to side. Good. Hugging your knees to your chest. Rocking side to side, giving your back a nice massage. And then let's bring our legs down, bringing the soles of our feet together, moving into butterfly, lying on your back. So this is a reclined butterfly pose, or Baddha Konasana. Arms down by your side or out to the sides, out wide. Just releasing, allowing your hips to just drop into the mat. Noticing if you're holding tension in your low back. Breathing through that tension and just let that low back go. Let it melt into your mat. Opening up our hips, opening up our low back, honoring our body by taking time to move through these stretches, and noticing we're so busy in the day taking care of everyone else that we love and we care for. We forget to take care of our own vehicle, our physical body. You wouldn't try to drive your car around on fumes. You would have to go fill up the car with gas. You wouldn't try to drive your car into the ground without getting it a tune-up. The same thing, the practice of yoga and breathing and meditation is your tune-up for your physical body, your vehicle for this life. Bending your knees, closing them together like a book, and then rocking your knees side to side. This time lifting your feet up to the ceiling, feet as if you're walking on the ceiling, bending your knees, reaching for your shins, your ankles, your feet, or even the peace fingers wrapped around your big toe, and bending the knees into your armpits and then just rocking side to side. This is called happy baby. Just imagine how babies grab their feet, they giggle, and they rock side to side. All these poses that we're doing, we were already practicing in the womb. And then when we came into the world, society suppressed us from continuing to practice these poses. So I guess we wouldn't be lying around in the mall doing happy babies. So how about we just do it in yoga and enjoy it? And holding it static for just a minute, pushing your knees towards your armpits. And taking in a deep inhale. Open mouth exhale. Gently releasing your legs and feet back to the mat, perhaps doing a couple of windshield wipers again. Lifting your hips up to the ceiling, so bringing your heels close to your hips, hands flat on. We're going to move into a bridge pose. Squeezing your thighs, squeezing your buttocks muscles, pushing your feet into the mat, and then bringing your shoulders, pressing it into the mat, tucking your chin to your chest. Breathing long and deep. Now taking in a deep inhale, open mouth exhale, and very slowly, mindfully coming down. Once your bottom hits the mat, windshield wiper your knees again. And then stretch your legs out. And then reaching your arms up above your head. Reaching, stretching from fingertips to toes. Let's do a full body stretch. Breathing long and deep. Stretching from toes to fingertips as if you're touching the wall on each side of the room. Elongating our body. Inhale and exhale, release. Coming to a comfortable lying position, taking with you whatever you need for our final pose, Savasana. Savasana is extremely important because it's like when we're stretching at the end of a vigorous exercise routine. Savasana is when our body takes the time to recognize all the energy that you've released through the practice of asana and breath. Take this time to just let go and just be. Savasana. Begin by bringing awareness back to your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. And rotating your ankles and your wrists in one direction. And reversing the direction of the rotation. Gently turning your head side to side. And then hugging your knees to your chest. Rolling onto your favorite side. Using the crook of your elbow as a pillow. And then slowly coming up to a comfortable seated position. Trying to keep your eyes closed. Reaching your arms up to the ceiling, taking in a deep inhale. Exhale, bringing your hands to your heart center. First, bowing to yourself, giving yourself gratitude, thanks, and honor for bringing yourself to this practice and giving yourself the time and space. Your palms to your forehead for loving and kind thoughts. To your lips for loving and kind words. And back to your beautiful heart center for an open heart chakra to give, but most importantly, receive all the love. Namaste.